Hey everybody, I want to talk to you in this video a little bit about suffering. We all know that suffering is part of our lives, and by suffering I mean extreme distress, sadness, depression, and suffering goes hand in hand with an event. So it's a cause and effect thing. Something happens, and as a result of what that particular thing is, it causes us to suffer. But the important thing is it's cause and effect. Something happens. It's real. It's in the now. And that particular thing causes us to suffer. And the thing I want to talk to you about here is our choice is to how much we want to suffer. So the suffering with the event in real time, in the now, is legit. And for the most part, I don't even think we have a choice about that. Something happens, somebody's sick, somebody dies, a relationship is over, a job is lost, finance take a hit. Whatever it is that is really, really important to us, the event happens in real time, in the now, and we suffer. The suffering I want to talk about in this video is suffering that does not have an event associated with it. Or if it is associated with anything, it's associated with our imagination. So we all know that we cannot predict the future. That is a given. So the suffering that causes us distress about a future event is not real in the sense that we really need to suffer because of it. What is happening is we're choosing to suffer. So here's an example, made up. There's a doctor's test, it's on something serious, and the test results come out and the doctor says, the results are not good, it is something serious, and we have to deal with it to save your life. That's very distressful, and it can cause us a lot of suffering. So it's real. It's part of life. You can't get away from that. It happened. You're really distressed. The suffering that's optional is on the other side of it. There is a test coming, and a kind of serious test, and it might have major ramifications for us, but we don't know what the results of that test is going to be. So we can either say, when the results come, if suffering is involved, it's part of life, I'll live with the suffering then. Cause and effect. Event, one event, suffering, one suffering. Or we can say, I'm going to suffer about it now. I can't predict the future, but I'm going to predict that it's going to be bad. And I'm going to predict that when it happens, I'm going to suffer. But I'm going to do it now. So even though the test results are not going to be available for another week, I make the conscious decision to start to suffer today. I will suffer, be depressed, be sad, be anxious, all these bad types of emotions that are associated with suffering. I choose to start suffering now. Now, the silliness of this is we might find out that the event actually never did take place. So the suffering was unnecessary. The other thing we find out is that the event did take place, and there will be suffering in a week or so when we find out about it. But unfortunately, we choose to suffer for the week prior to it as well. So we've added suffering to our life where it is unnecessary. Now, don't get me wrong, suffering is really tough, and all of us know how painful it is to go through. But I think the thing to focus on this video is let's give suffering its due when it is due, in real time with a real event. And let's live with it as best we can. But let's choose not to do suffering when there might not be any reason for it. I don't know what those test results will be. Right now, I'm a week before it. I can wait and see what it's going to be. Remember from a prior video, let's see what happens next. So it's just some things to think about. Let's suffer once when it's legitimate. Let's not suffer a dozen times when it may not be legitimate. So some things to think about. I hope it gives you some help. Have a great day.